I arrived in 39. In 1941, we were attacked at Pearl Harbor by the Japanese, and the Italians, being tied with Hitler, Mussolini, the three dictators, and the Japanese, they all declared war on America in 1941, December to be exact. Well, at that time I didn't know what to do. I felt very bad because I felt like an enemy. You know, I come from a country that's just attacked America. I wanted to be an American citizen. So I said, what can I do? I was 16. I went and tried to enlist in the Marine Corps, and I did. I succeeded with them. They asked me about my birth certificate, and I told them, well, it's in Rome, Italy, and unfortunately we are fighting in Rome, Italy, so I'm not going there to get it. You know, don't pick us off. He says, you have to be 18. I says, I'm 18. Yes, exactly. They took me away. My mom didn't, because she just saved me from Europe. They had started the war there a year before, in 1939, when we came. And she would have never signed the papers, you know, for me to be going to the Marine Corps. Never. So I told her that I had a scholarship to the University of South Carolina. I said USMC on top of the papers, United States Marine Corps.
Oh.
So I said it's University of State of Maryland and Carolina in Italian, because she didn't read English.
Yeah.
She didn't know how to, so she saw it, and I said, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer. What an opportunity this is. She signed the papers, and I was in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because it was so terrible at that time when we were attacked, we were losing our country. That was not a war that we were saving other people, like we've been doing in Vietnam, Korea, and now in Iraq and all the rest. We go around trying to save them and make them democracies. But this was for our own skin. Here, the Japanese, after they attacked Pearl Harbor, if you know your history, you read it, till August of that year, they were taking anything in the Pacific and anything they wanted, and we had no way to stop them. We were not prepared for a war. And they took the Philippines from us, they took Guam from us, they took anything they wanted. And we were hoping to stop them. If they would have won that war, we wouldn't be here, all of us today. So I enlisted in patriotism, more or less, but what's a 16-year-old know about patriotism? So I enlisted. The greatest day of my life was when I stood in front of a judge and I pledged allegiance to this great country and became a citizen. I made always sure that I look out for the veterans, like Pat told you. Anytime that we were marching down Fifth Avenue to support our boys in Vietnam, and we were pelted by tomatoes and stuff like that for supporting them. The only time I ever felt ashamed of my country was in the 60s and that time of the Vietnam War, the way they treated the troops. I know it's okay to disagree, but these are our boys. How can you disagree? I mean, treat them like they did. So I made sure that I supported them, and today I'm making sure that never happened. Just about 2 weeks ago, we got some of the boys back from the Marine base here, 350. I was on that to make sure they come back to a big rah, 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 as we say in the Marine Corps. That was the third time they came home. Not only I attend them, I build them,
Yeah.
as you can see.
Yeah.
Yes, and I attended them, and I attended the one, I lived long enough for the one, and as I told you before, they took 61 years to build something to the Second World War, which was a war to save the country itself.
Yeah.
But I lived, and it was wonderful, the way they did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
And I also attended the Vietnam one when they opened, and the Korean one. I attended every one, no matter what. And in San Francisco, I'll give you an idea how different it was. I'm walking in San Francisco in Market Street, the main street there, and a little old lady comes up to me, she hugs me, and she says, thank you for saving our country, thank you for doing what you did. And she says, my son is in the Navy. I says, I'll forgive him. So she left, and she took me home. We had dinner, of course, jokingly, I told her that. I didn't say it. She took us home, and we were treated beautifully. We want to go to a movie. We show up at the movie place and you go in for free. Everything that a soldier, a sailor, or so on in the Second World War the country was just all the way 100%. It was for us, giving us anything we needed. So poor Pat, unfortunately, as I said, I still fought for him. That's why I told you I was ashamed of my country. The only 2 times was during the Vietnam War, the way they treated the troops. I don't care even if you know, they disagreed with the war. I even disagreed with the war because I lost all my friends in it, you know. So, but not the troops. You don't treat your own children that way when they come home, call them baby killers and so.
Yeah.
When we go over to the Vietnam one, we feel real sick over it because they were, you know, they died, and I don't know for what. The nation didn't really care for them anyhow. So we feel that way. For the Second World War, we feel real good because they cared for us and they thought of us. But the difference is, when I go to the Vietnam one, I cry. When I go to the Second World War one, I'm staying here proud. They get more and more heavy every year.
Yeah.
I cry more and more. At the beginning, not so much,
Yeah.
but then you keep thinking of them, and you remember them as 18-year-olds, 12-year-olds. Yeah, I think of them a lot. Yes, it's more modern. Yes, they were the modern one. And thank God, as I said, that I'm happy that they built one for them almost immediately. And then thank God. But by the way, the government didn't do it. By the way,
Yeah.
none of them. The government has not funded these things. These were all funded by the people, not by the government. They didn't build anything. That one is more modern. I'm glad that they did theirs first, even before mine, which hurt because I didn't know whether I'd last for mine. As I told you, more than 2/3 of the Second World War men that didn't die in the war died of old age before they built a monument to them, you know, for them to see.
Yeah.
But they got it right away, and I go there all the time, and it's a very emotional place, like that one.
I was a sergeant with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam.
Okay.
One of those nuts who jumped out of airplanes.
Harry Carter.